Ready to make a real impact every day? Join the Active Day Home Care team and help clients maintain their independence in the comfort of their own homes. Make a difference in someone's life as you provide essential daily assistance and protect their health and happiness. Earn up to $20 an hour and enjoy additional perks like optional daily pay, 401k, paid time off, ongoing educational training, and more. Join a team that values care, compassion, and your professional growth. Visit activeday.com to apply.
Live at lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Annie on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Pinbomb, Sushi Burrito, Poke Ramen, welcome to the Thursday edition of Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff along with Jimmy Ott. Nathan back in the studio. Jordan with a couple of days off here at the end of the week. Colucci with us from Las Vegas later on this hour. Ali Cosell makes his return to the show, a longtime contributor from the Pelicans beat. He'll be talking with us about the NBA draft's first round last night. Jimmy, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, man.
Yeah. So last night, the Pelicans went in with the 7th pick of the first round and the 23rd pick of the first round. There was some debate about what direction the Pelicans would go with that 7th pick. The names that were in play were Jeremiah Fears, the guard from Oklahoma, who they ended up taking. Trey Johnson, the guard from Texas, who ended up going the pick before. Kaman Malach, the center from Duke, who ended up going 3 picks after that. And the possibility that Ace Bailey, who's a story all unto himself, would drop to number 7, and the possibility that they would go there. So that bullpen was sort of the 4 guys. We figured Knipple would be off the board. He was one of the early choices, but he went 4th to the Hornets. So that was out of place. So you had those 4 guys that were in the bullpen, and they ended up taking Fears. Okay. Fears is not a reach. We can talk about his strengths and weaknesses. If he had not gone 7th to the Pelicans, he would have gone in the next couple of picks. I feel very confident about that. He's a playmaking guard. He can certainly score, though he's not a great shooter. He's very young. He's still 18 years old after a full season of college basketball, and will be until right before training camp starts. And there's a certain amount of downhill to his game. There's some swag to his game. As young players are ought to do, he turned the ball over a little bit more than you'd like, but that can be worked on. And he is, at this point in his career, not a great outside shooter, which also can be worked on.
Supposed to be in high school last year.
Yes. So Fears is an upside guy. I don't know how good he's going to be next year. He's going to be an 18-year-old playing in the NBA next year. That's a league full of grown men, so it may take a while, but his value at number 7 is fine. Okay, you can argue about was that the Pelicans' biggest need? What is the future of DeJounte Murray? He misses all the next season. Will he be with the Pels a year after that? Those are all legitimate arguments that we can have. But Fears as a value at 7, is he worth that pick? Yes. If he doesn't go with that pick, he's going pretty quick after that. The most of the talk, though, centered around the 2nd pick that the Pelicans made, which was not at 23, but was at 13. They moved up 10 spots with the Hawks. And to do that cost them the pick next year unprotected. And unprotected is a word you're going to hear me say a lot. You're going to hear everybody with the Pelicans, beat, say it a lot. This is the better of the Milwaukee or New Orleans pick next year. Whichever one is better, the Hawks get. It's unprotected. If it's the number 1 pick in next year's draft, it's going to Atlanta. If it's the last pick, it's going to Atlanta and every pick in between. I'm not going to go into a whole litany of unprotected pick trades in the NBA, but if you trade an unprotected pick when you got this much liability attached to it, you are out of your mind, or you are getting a superstar, one of the two. And they ended up taking Derek Queen from Maryland. I'm going to talk about him in a second, but I want to talk about the trade first. Because Derek Queen's a nice player. He's not a reach at 13 either. He would have gone somewhere in the mid-teens. He's got his ups and strengths and weaknesses too. But the trade itself has been absolutely blasted. Every media person, every unnamed source, everybody looks at this trade and says, this is entirely too much to give up. And that's even if Derek Queen becomes a player. It's got some similarities to the Luka trade in that even if it works out for Dallas, they could have gotten so much more for Luka. If the Pelicans would have dangled this pick, they could have probably gotten into the top 5. And that's no exaggeration. New Orleans was terrible last year. Milwaukee got in the first round of the playoffs. They have lost Dame Lillard for all of next season, and Giannis may or may not be with the Bucks for all of next year. Those are all very real things. This pick has enormous value. Enormous value. And to use it to move up 10 spots into the back end of the lottery is just a bad deal. I'm sorry. It's not even debatable whether this is a bad deal. It's a bad deal because you gave up too much. I like the term, I'm trying to remember where I read it. This is a super first because you don't even have to root for one team to be bad. Either of two teams could be bad, and this pick could skyrocket up the board. I also hate the trade because it does something that the Saints have done a lot, which is you have overestimated where you are as a franchise. This is the kind of trade that you make if you are the Minnesota Timberwolves and you made it to conference finals last year and you think you need one more player to get over the hump. Maybe you make this trade. Probably not, but maybe you make this trade. If Halliburton doesn't get hurt and you're the Indiana Pacers and you want to make a trade like this for one more guy because you think that's what you need to win one more game to win the NBA. If you were 21-61 last year with a roster that is disjointed beyond repair, I'm going to get to that in a second too, you're out of your mind. You are absolutely out of your mind. You have overestimated. Is this a playoff team next year? I got a hard time seeing it. Maybe. But at the back end of the playoffs at best, are you contending for a title? No. The next thing I don't like about this trade, look at what the Pelicans roster looks like right now. If you had to play a game this week, you would have Jordan Poole, Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, Yves Missy in the starting lineup, and Zion, okay? You got defensive liabilities all over the floor with the exception of Jones. You've got a bad defensive team. And this was a team that last year had the worst points per possession allowed in the league, and somehow you got worse with the moves that you made this week defensively. These guys may be able to score. They may score 115 points a game, but they're not going to be able to stop anybody. Here's another reason I don't like this trade. Derek Queen, I'm going to give you the profile on him. Jimmy, you saw him play a lot last year for Maryland. He was a terrific player for Maryland. He is an undersized big from a height standpoint. Yeah, he has some offensive skills. There's no question. He can score the ball. He's a good rebounder, but he's a defensive liability. He's not a rim protector, and one of the biggest knocks on him is he is not in great shape. He has worked a little bit on his conditioning, but his conditioning is not great. Who does that sound like to you? A guy that's not as tall as you'd like for an interior player, but with considerable offensive skills. It struggles with his conditioning and is a defensive liability.
Zion, but he's a lot different from Zion.
But he's got to play next to him now. They got two guys that do the same thing.
Zion's way more explosive.
Zion's a better player when he's healthy, no question. But he's just 10 times the athlete.
he's got a thick build where he's got no room for error. Very kind of encouraging signs that whoever he's got his confidant that he hired now is, I mean, who went? Was it Billis?
Troy Weaver.
He said, man, this is a no-nonsense cat, bro. So, maybe a step in maturity for Zion. That's the most impressive thing I got there. Yeah. Queen is, he's listed at 6'10". He's not real long, though, if that makes sense. His wingspan is not as much as some thick-skinned guys. He looked like more of a college player in the sense that, a lot of his work was down low, and would occasionally go out and stretch it, and showed that he could make shots, but not something where he didn't hang on the perimeter looking to kind of like a Naz Reid when he was at LSU.
Yeah,
Naz was a face the basket player. Queen excuse me. Queen posted up a lot, and I think that led to his 53% field goal percentage. He took high quality shots. He was part of Maryland's run. I mean, he was a big part.
He had one of the biggest shots of the tournament.
Yeah, the buzzer beater, and everybody knew it was going to him. Mm-hmm. And so he is. I just don't know how his game. Everybody wants these stretch fours. I don't know how he could do that. He's gonna, you work on your shot. And he showed glimpses. He can do it. I don't know about great, but he's a nice piece.
There's nothing wrong with the player.
A star, whatever. Yeah, I get it. What you gave up for him, but Milwaukee. Right. Let's just go for the odds to win it all. All 30 teams. Mm-hmm. So if you slot it, say they all finish where their odds are to win the whole thing.
Yeah.
The Pels would have the 8th pick, and Milwaukee would have the 14th pick. That's still with Giannis. If Giannis goes, you're talking about one of the worst 5.
Yes.
A top 5.
Yeah.
As far as ping pong balls and things like that.
Right.
So, and gosh, they're talking about it a lot. I mean, it does seem like we'll see if San Antonio what they want to do after the draft and things like that. We'll see, and
it may not be till the trade deadline either that Giannis moves. He may start the season with Milwaukee and not finish it there.
Right.
So it may be a half and half, and that's the Pelicans with Zion. Who? How many games can you count on him to play next year?
And look, could his approach and his strengths at the college? I mean, that was his style of play and the way he played, his basketball IQ and the way the coach used him, Willard, was best suited for them to win games at the college level. That's what I want to see. I don't know if it was so much to develop his game on what he'll need more moving to the next level. So it's going to take some time.
In a vacuum, Queen going at 13 is fine. That's not a problem. There are a lot of people that really like his game. The problem is what you gave up to get him and the fit with the current team. I mean, as it's configured right now, this is one of the worst defensive teams on paper in the NBA in the last 10 years.
His body is not where it should be for a guy that age. Okay, Zion's built like that. This guy is a little sloppy but he can. I mean, look. I mean, we've seen guys go from college to pro and really improve upon their conditioning. I mean, and some don't.
Right.
But he does have some skills, Charlie.
He does. I don't hate the player.
He does have some skills.
I want to make that clear. I don't hate the player at all. We've talked about his strengths and weaknesses. My biggest problem with this whole operation, and when I say the whole operation, I mean the whole building, okay? I would use one term, short-sighted, okay? Dumore's brought in Weaver. His son is on the staff at Maryland. They decided this was the guy they got, and damn the cost. And the Saints do this all the time. It's like me saying, you know what I want? I want a really cool car. I want a Maserati, okay? And all of my other expenses and stuff, I'll have a really cool car, but what about the rest of my expenses? I have overindulged on a car that I can't afford. And that's what the Saints did this with their trades with Philadelphia. The Pels have now done this with this trade with Atlanta, and you can argue maybe the trade before this with Atlanta, where they decide they got to have a guy. And, with Marcus Davenport or, Trevor Penning or now Derek, we got to have him, and we don't care what it costs.
Because the 13th pick, which, this is a high probability that pick is going to be a higher pick.
Yes, high probability.
High probability.
You got two shots at it.
Yeah, two. And look, the Pels where, they can have a better season certainly than they had last year. Certainly better season. They're projected like 8th worst record in the league. But damn it, how much? What percentage of games you playing in your division? Because everybody in division is getting better.
Everybody
in the division is getting. It was already good.
You've mortgaged a key piece of your future for your present, and your present ain't that good. Okay, the same thing the Saints do. It's, we think we're a contender. You're not a contender. You're not even on the cusp of being a contender. Oh, well, if everybody gets healthy. Well, everybody ain't here anymore. DeJounte Murray is not getting healthy next year. And C.J. McCollum, who was fairly reliable even at his age, is gone now. And Zion is a ticking time bomb, and Ingram is in Toronto. So you don't even have that. Man, if we ever put this team on the floor, you ain't got that team anymore. You got this. Two guys that need some time to develop.
Your first pick, you can't expect anything out of him for a couple seasons.
He's going to need some development time. Yeah, he's 18 years old.
Yes, he skipped his senior year of high school. And he's not Cooper Flagg. He's got some ability, but he is. You can't. He's got a long way to go to just mature physically.
They just will not go step by step.
You're surprised why? I ask this every time it comes out of that operation down there, that compromised operation.
I'm not going to say surprise
at the all-important.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm done being nice. Okay, she's a wonderful humanitarian, but right now she ranks among the worst owners in professional sports. And am I surprised? No, but I wanted to see what Dumars would do. Okay, he hadn't been the lead executive in a while. I wanted to see what he could do. Now I've seen it. Okay, I got it.
Worse than the Ingram deal. Because it's got it written all over it, right?
The Ingram deal was the biggest problem with the Ingram deal is they didn't do it soon enough. The return continued to evaporate the closer they got to the end of that contract, and they kind of painted themselves into a corner because they wanted to see what it looked like when they got all those guys on the court together, which they never did. So their biggest problem.
No. Mark Ingram.
Oh, Mark Ingram. The Saints were a contender in 2011.
The Saints were on the same page, but it's you and look, nice player.
Yeah.
You went a little high on him, but man, there's a lot of guys that drafted right there where Mark Ingram was. He didn't have the career.
I didn't love the trade, but the Saints were a bona fide Super Bowl contender at the time, yes. And he turned out to be a productive player after a slow start. So no, this is way worse than that. This isn't a gamble. This is just a bad trade. A gamble would have been if you traded up for Ace Bailey, who may or may not have wanted to play in New Orleans. That would have been a gamble with a high upside. This is just a bad trade.
So if they get the exact if the pick is exactly the same, do you reserve the right to say, well, maybe it worked out?
No, because I will believe that they could have gotten more if they had dangled this pick the same way. If the Mavericks had made an open season on anybody can bid for Luka, they would have done better than that return. The Pelicans, if they had said, we will give this unprotected pick, I think they would have done better than this.
All right, we're over here at Finbom, Sushi Burrito, Poke Ramen, Burbank, and Lee, right next to Rouse's. I've talked to my favorite cart boy, 80s John, so always good to get he let me know what all the 80s vehicles with Pontiac that were. I love it. I mean, he's the best, man. And I love coming. It's my grocery store, and this is my Sushi Burrito Poke Ramen store. Yes, it's great, man. This time, man, you do not want to go to lunch and get something that's going to weigh you down. You talk about not feel good. I mean, it's like eating a steak and going to play Fallen Oak. I mean, I don't know. You might be throwing up all over the place. So, I mean, you want to eat light, but it's good. It's refreshing. And, man, you just kind of navigate through the menu, order a sushi burrito, ask questions. It's okay. If you come in for the first time, it can be a little bit overwhelming. But the poke, the rain bowl, the volcano bowl, the Hawaiian bowl, it's just whether you get the shrimp, the scallops, the tuna, the spicy tuna, the salmon is outstanding, whatever it may be. Shrimp, you got the tempura shrimp as well. You create your own, or you can go and kind of take one in one of our specialty bowls and navigate from there. I don't really like avocados. I like avocados. I want fresh jalapenos. I don't, and go on and on. So it's really good stuff. And man, if you haven't tried it, you are not. You got to do yourself a justice and come on and check it out. It's Finbom Sushi Burrito Poke Ramen on Burbank and Lee, right next to Rouse's.
Live at Finbom, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
With Ott and Hanny from Finbom, sushi, burrito, poke, ramen on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Remember, the show's available on demand, LouisianaSports.net, 104.5 ESPN.com. Final Handycast of the season is up now on YouTube. All right, so we've been talking about the Pelicans trade in the draft that I mentioned. Their defense is going to stink. Max may hate the trade worse than we do, which is hard to fathom. You blew up our phone last night, dog. I thought I was worried about you there for a little while.
This is a deeply, deeply troubled, unserious organization to do something like this. And up until this point, I didn't mind the Fears pick. It all made sense. The trade for CJ, I thought they got a good bit back. Joe Dumars, Troy Weaver, they were off to a decent start, in my opinion. But this is like a borderline fireable offense to me. Not only did you trade up from 23 to 13. Let's simplify things. That 23rd pick you traded for earlier this year. It was previously a 2026 Pacers first-round pick. That 2026 first-round pick that you got was from the Brandon Ingram trade. It was like the only good thing that came of it. Kelly Olynyk was also included in that trade. He's gone. Yeah. Bruce Brown was included in that trade. He was a bad contract. So essentially you got for Brandon Ingram this 2026 first-round pick, which became the first-round pick that you traded up to get him. So to simplify things, they traded Brandon Ingram and a very coveted first-round pick next year that will likely be a lottery pick. Between the Bucks or the Pelicans, one of them will be in the lottery. And as we've seen, even if they're the 12th pick in terms of odds in the lottery, they could be the number one overall pick next year, as we saw with the Mavericks. You traded those two things, Brandon Ingram and a very coveted first-round pick next year, for Derek Queen, who, look, whatever you think about Derek Queen, I think he could be a good player. I think he's more of a college player, kind of like Jimmy was referring to. He doesn't really fit, but let's say he's the Rookie of the Year, which he's 50-1 to do next year. Let's say he's the 50-1 Rookie of the Year guy. Is he still going to be worth it when you're maybe giving up a top 5 pick next year in the draft? Probably not. So this is Jimmy, we see this all the time in professional sports, even college sports. When a team wins it all, everyone else tries to copy them, right? The Eagles, they build through
sports is a lot of industries mimic success, but sports, yeah.
So the Thunder have built over time through the draft. They made their big move. They got rid of Paul George. They've since built around Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who they got in that trade, and they've had a lot of picks, and they could have bundled a lot of them up for another big player, and they've held off on that temptation because they wanted to create a culture around certain players. They make some small moves, bringing in Alex Caruso, but nothing massive. But they've been patient. This is the opposite of that. They are not copying success. They're doing the very opposite of it. There's no sense in what they did here, regardless of how good Derek Queen is. Whatever, Troy Weaver's son was on the staff with Maryland. Let's say he really liked Derek Queen. Hey, go get him. I can just picture him yesterday saying, hey, Dad, go get Derek Queen. He's a great player. And then when they come back with we just traded our next year's first-round pick, even the son would probably be like, whoa, not for that. No, what are you doing? This is just It's perplexing, but it's
y'all
the
are so
Pelicans.
funny, man. Y'all act like y'all surprised.
It is the Pelicans. They do this themselves all the time, but
it's business as usual, man. I mean, it's a compromised operation. I mean, how many times you got to say? And so how old's Joe Dumars?
62. I think.
How long do you think he wants to? What do you think his expectation he wants to be in there? So maybe he doesn't want to sit around and wait. But then again, the 2 picks last night. Yeah, Queen at 13. Yeah, the other Kafir's at 7, but not together. I mean, you don't give up everything. No. That's your last piece of the puzzle. In the only defense of the Saints with the Ingram deal, they gave up too much, but they were a contender and they're desperate. They were in sore need of a running back. So Peyton thought that was the last piece of the puzzle. This guy's not the last piece of the puzzle. Y'all don't think Zion's going to get in good shape now? With his new
he was in good shape last year by his standards, and he still only played 30 some odd games. I mean, he was a lot lighter last year and still got hurt. Weaver, we talk about Troy Weaver here for a second. He was with Oklahoma City for a long time, okay? But Presti gets all the credit and should, okay, for putting that team together. Where was Weaver more recently than that? He was a general manager in Detroit for 3 seasons. You know what their record was? 54 and 192. You know where he was after Detroit? Washington. How good were they?
And Detroit's good now.
Detroit's good now. Did he put some of the pieces down? I mean, all I know is that they were 54 and 192 while he was there. Maybe the guy's a great evaluator. Like, I respect the time he spent in Oklahoma City. Okay, obviously they put together the model franchise. Now, how much of that was him, and how much of that was somebody else?
And Trajan Langdon is now the president of basketball ops for the Pistons.
Things are in decent shape in Detroit right
Langdon
now.
was in your building, and you let him walk.
That is a group.
Good coaches, good programs. They talk about alignment all the time. This program is not aligned at all.
Last thing on this, okay? Willie Green, does he like to play rookies?
Doesn't like to play rookies, and he likes defense.
Yes. This is going to be the worst defensive team in the league again.
They're not aligned at all.
No. Chad Reynolds, legacy title for all of your real estate closings, 296-0060, full-service title company servicing all of South Louisiana. Fast, friendly, professional services which you get when you call 296-0060. Ashley Donald, Mariana Broussard-Hayes, Adrian Reese-Galata, Michael Platt, Natalie and Bradford Smith. Buying, building, refinancing. Nobody chooses but you. Choose Chad Reynolds and legacy title, 296-0060. Nick's got a coach yet?
No.
Okay, so we're better than them. We're better than them. We're better on operation.
The Knicks could go out there without a coach and beat the Pelicans right now.
Well,
without a coach.
I know, but it's just
a pickup game.
They were really prepared when they launched a guy that, won all them games.
They're interviewing assistants now. Live at FinBomb, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Outdoors. It's time. It's now Colucci time. Dwayne Colucci is back to give his best picks on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Yes, indeed. Colucci, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good, Jimmy Ott. How we doing, my friend? Are you guys humidified out down there in Louisiana?
It's a tad warm, but tad warm where you are, too. Just a little dry heat.
It's a wet heat.
Is it coyote season?
Oh. I don't even know what coyote
season. That was funny,
season.
actually. Always. It never stops, Charlie. The other day on social media, I seen how they had a video how these coyotes could just scale, 15-foot walls, and they were perched on top of the wall. And,
what? That's
as
scary.
it gets hotter here. Oh, yeah. There's no water. There's no food for them as it gets hotter and hotter, and it doesn't rain here. So they got to start scoping out. And, there's been some horror stories. You got to watch your pets. That's the whole key. It isn't really the human element, but the pets. You have to, especially exotic pets. They'll just, these packs will just tear them apart. So, once we hit those hundreds every day, it's open season for these coyotes.
So if you do have, or you are protected by, say, a 15-foot fence or wall around your house, you're still not safe with the coyotes. Still got to have. What is coyote repellent? What do you use?
He used a hockey stick, remember?
I know what he uses.
I don't know.
What do people suggest, Wayne?
Having lizards and chickens and stuff like that, and just getting inhaled when they get as pets. So who knows? Anything is possible here in Vegas.
Oh man. So how did it fall for the NBA? Who was the biggest public loser as far as future bets and things like that? Were they on the zigzag? The zigzags were real profitable in the postseason, 5-1 in the finals, which came through again. Give us a final report card on how they did at your book for the NBA.
Yeah, definitely, Jimmy. We did good with the futures. We came out and said that prior to the round that we were sitting pretty at Rampart and South Point. So we did very well on future wagers. That was definitely great. I was posting tickets left and right. Like you said, the action on Game 7 was incredible. We have a guest come in and put a substantial chunk on the Thunder money line. That brought our wind down a little bit. But, yeah, definitely, the market out here is so funny when it comes to the NBA. It's definitely telegraphed, basically, that you're going to get, when all teams are healthy, a ton of Laker, a ton of Golden State money. Denver has become a focal point because we're in the West region, and 90% of the tickets on the Eastern Conference definitely were coming in on teams like the Celtics and the Knicks. So, those were the very popular teams. Cleveland started to get popular, but we adjust the lines as the season goes. We keep our NBA championship lines up and offer them the full season prior to playoffs, but the adjustment worked out well. You did have a lot of Cleveland and Denver backers, when they sensed that they could possibly make a lot of noise, and definitely a ton of Laker backers when the Luka trade was made. So, the futures market was pretty good for us guys. It treated us very well, and we ended up doing pretty well in the NBA championship, despite the Thunder running the table and being a thorn in our side during the regular season, against the Spurs. Most of the parlays, but come playoff time, Indiana showed a lot of signs of life. It was terrible to see Tyrese Halliburton go down like that, and it definitely was a major factor. He was very hot when he came out, but you knew he was playing on somewhat of an injured, leg and foot area, so it definitely ended up playing itself out. Shame now that the Eastern Conference complexion is going to change drastically. You see the Celtics are unloading big contracts. Holiday, Porzingis gone already. And, they understand that Tatum is going to be on the shelf. So when you have all this money locked up, you can't make any acquisitions, and you're going to be a middle-tier Eastern Conference team with the current roster. So they made a few adjustments and changes to free up some money. It's looking really good for the Knicks outside of the coaching, search, because they're going to be fully healthy, hopefully, coming into the season, and with a new coach and fresh attitude. The New York Knicks and the Cleveland Cavaliers can be up there. You're seeing Orlando jockeying for position. They're making some moves. Philadelphia is always a question mark on the health side. And, you see the Nets have so many draft picks for the next few seasons that it's going to be hard for them not to be able to build a successful team. And, you have a lot of other teams that are up and coming. Detroit is definitely an up and coming young team. So the Eastern Conference, we're going to get a very good mix on the futures market again, and it's wide open. So the NBA futures market is very good at the Rampart and South Point, and it's been treating us pretty well.
We have been starting to transition from baseball to football with college. Did you get any action on the LSU College World Series Championship Series?
It's definitely an interesting series. Managers getting thrown out, umpires randomly falling down, and that's why the college game. In my opinion, guys, I love it. It's definitely great, but it's not similar to the NFL and college football. In my opinion, the college baseball drop-off from the major league product is tremendous. I mean, you're going to find naturally some studs, definitely on both sides of this, championship round. One team had a 26-game winning streak. LSU is just monstrous. They put together a tremendous run. But, it's just, from a handle perspective, it got up there for the World Series. But, it's not as much and as prominent as in your neck of the woods, without a doubt.
We
they're
know.
Still going to bet Dodgers, Mets, And definitely, I know you guys know it. You guys live it down there.
So you barely, yeah, but Dwayne, you barely got any action. You cut out. Is that what you're saying on the college
I got to say, yeah, we got way more action, I would say, on the CONCACAF World Cup that was going on here in Allegiant Stadium, the soccer. And, yeah, it was up there, though. We had some good action on that second game.
Gotcha. Yeah, the guy did a little backflip, huh? And the umpire.
That was tremendous. I mean, it's just, but you don't want to see that in the championship game, definitely. And, hey, credit to LSU. You guys got in the head, and it's a beautiful thing. Now you're champions, and hopefully this could carry over, that maybe Mr. Kelly could win his first game of the regular season. Let's hope this carries over for you guys in football, because we know you're going to have a tremendous product out there, and you're going to be battling in the SEC. Got to win that first game, though.
Dwayne, you guys at the Rampart in South Point a little bit kind of like old school, where, there was once upon a time where the race book would devoted way more space than the actual sports book. Some don't even have a race book anymore, and when they do, it's just not as big. You guys are equally... I mean, it's kind of equal. You devote as much space to the race book as the sports. Has the race horse racing handle? We could talk about the industry, and we have before, and you've alerted to us as far as the fairgrounds. They did say, actually, the update there is that they're negotiating. But where's the handle compared to where it was maybe 10, 15 years ago? Is that declining as well, or it's maintaining?
Oh, it's a tremendous drop-off, guys. I mean, knock on wood, this year I've shown gains in each of the 6 months so far of the year. But horse racing is definitely a tough market, and you're seeing a lot of these books go away from it, going away. The cost is what it is. When you break down the cost, guys, to show the video feed, to purchase the racing forms, the track fees when you're dealing with the dissemination companies as well as the different communication companies, it becomes a very tough nut to make a profit. If you don't have handle, and you have to also deal with the track takeouts, you make a smaller percentage when you're booking on win, place, and show as opposed to the pick fives, the pick sixes. You have to have a good mix of players. And, us at the Rampart and the South Point, we do a tremendous job, and we're lucky. South Point has their own race book, which is totally unheard of in this day and age in the landscape of Las Vegas. And myself, I dedicate half of the video wall to horse racing, and on the big days, you're going to get 2/3 of the video wall on horse racing. But I have a unique property to where I have some great customers. I have great flow. We have a lot of people that come in from out of town that love to bet on the horse racing. And, I just have a unique crowd and a unique demographic to where I could make a profit off of horse racing. This year, it's definitely shown some positive signs. Tremendous coverage of journalism and sovereignty. Now you have the Stephen F. Foster this weekend, where you have all these great older horses, whether it's the Dubai World Cup winner, the previous Breeders' Cup Classic winner. You have some tremendous last year's Kentucky Derby winner, a tremendous field this weekend for closing weekend at Churchill Downs, which is definitely going to be prominent. But yeah, a lot of places are going away. Most of the corporates are pushing you onto their mobile apps and not even showing the basic track feed. You have the track feeds from TVG FanDuel, but they're not showing the dedicated feeds, which you cannot see odd changes. You can't see a lot of stuff, so it becomes a massive, massive problem.
There you go. All right, Dwayne, you saw your Dodgers were cheating last night in Colorado, huh? Did you see that? I mean, the Rockies are winning 1-0. Then it starts storming, Charlie. 2 runners on, 2
Jimmy,
outs.
We got an emergency in the building.
All right, Dwayne, bail out. Get on.
No, it's just an announcement that they're testing, but why they have to broadcast this at 10 a.m. is unbelievable here in Las Vegas. But, what was that last question? He stopped talking. What was that?
Did you see the Dodgers game last night? It was like the 7th.
Oh, yeah. They were cheating, huh? You like that? You got lost in the rain there. That's on the umpires, I'll be honest with you guys. I mean, come on. When it starts raining snowflakes and ice balls, you're going to get confused what a baseball is and what an ice ball is. So,
Charlie, two on, two out. 2 on, 2 out. Rockies are winning, 7th inning, and 6th or 7th, I forget which one. So pop-up in the infield, okay? Runners go. It's 2 outs.
Yeah.
You know, the second baseman is going, man, I can't find it. I can't find it. And he's just kind of, so, well, does the shortstop come over? Does the first baseman come over? It drops 1 foot from where the first baseman is just standing. So
Why didn't he catch it?
Because he couldn't see it, too, because it was raining cats and dogs.
Okay.
I mean,
So you said the game should have been stopped.
And the Dodgers, they asked the Dodgers manager if he wanted to, halt play. He says, no, we're going to get this pop-up in. So they let it in, took the 2-1 lead, and then they put on the tarp. I mean, it just, the Dodgers have got the biggest payroll.
When you're a limited resource team, you have to do what you can. Yeah, you have to do what you can with the Dodgers.
Shouldn't the home team make that decision?
No, it's sort of MLB code that you defer to the visiting team. It's kind of one of the perks.
Was this icy rain? I know it's Colorado.
Yeah, another one of them asinine rules.
All right.
Follow Dwayne on Twitter at NYBookieDwayne, at NYBookieDwayne. So, Dwayne, we're right around the corner to get some horse picks from you. What is we're looking forward to start of Saratoga, man. You started out hot last year. We're looking to do the same this year. Enjoy the weekend, Dwayne. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, Jimmy. And look at Churchill tonight. Race 5, the number 4 horse, Executive Action. That's Twilight Racing, so you guys got plenty of time to get down. Race 5 at Churchill, number 4.
There you go. Thank you, Dwayne.
Thanks, guys. Love you.
All right. Don't forget our friends at Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Your windows, doors, siding, and shutters. Top quality of all of our stuff. No doubt about it. Your homeowners association require wood windows. Well, we got the place for you. Again, it's Relief Windows. We offer high-quality windows in an array of materials and colors, guaranteeing the look you want while providing you energy efficiency, security, reduced outdoor noise, increased home value, and also, they're gel windows that are built to last in these extreme South Louisiana weather conditions. So you get the best functionality, great looking, and they're built to last. It's not all of them. I could tell you, the original windows at my house were not. I wish I had gotten in touch with Relief Windows originally. 288-8138. They're open 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com.
Live at Finbaum, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Finbaum. Sushi, burrito, poke, ramen on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
We're talking more about the Pelicans night with Ali Cosell at the top of the hour. Pels maybe making another move in the second round.
Just speculation. Just looking at the board that's left. To do Thero still out there, but you'd probably have to go up to get him.
Lakers moved up 10 spots, didn't they?
They did.
In the second round?
They gave up cash.
Cash.
That's all they had to give up.
Okay, so they didn't have to give up an unprotected pick for next year.
Not quite.
A super first, right? Okay. Second round versus the first round, but still.
A couple other guys just notable that are still available. Ryan Kalkbrenner for Creighton, who we talked about maybe.
Yeah, we thought he might get to slide into the second part of the late part of the first round.
John A. Broom for Auburn doesn't really seem like a pro prospect, but he's available. And then John Tanji of Wisconsin.
Guy everybody kind of likes is Rasheer Fleming from St. Joe's as a guy who could have been in the first round, but will probably go in the first, maybe with the first pick tonight or the first couple of picks tonight. For as good of a season as it was in the Southeastern Conference, it's not like there were a ton of SEC guys go. We did see Clayton go at 18. If he'd have gone at 23, that would have stung me just a little bit more. Aggravated as I was, if he'd have gone at 23, I'd have been even more steamed.
Chaz Lanier also available still. Your compadre with your favorite player in all of college basketball.
Tennessee. Yeah, that's right. The backcourt combination. Hour number 2, we are at Finbaum. Sushi, burrito, poke, ramen on Burbank at Lee, right next to Rouse's. This is Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
hot and handy from Finbom. Sushi, burrito, poke, ramen on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
And we're back here at Finbom. Jimmy, what's what got going?
What y'all you don't eat here? What do you like? What the hell do you like to eat here, boy?
I love the bowl with the lime,
like the
lime
scallops.
shrimp. I like the scallops too. I like the lime shrimp. And
that's ramen.
You
That's
get the
hot.
ramen bowl.
It's 100 degrees outside. We're not eating ramen right now.
Okay, well then
you're eating a bowl.
Can I have the egg rolls then? I like the scallops too.
I had to sneak a couple of egg rolls before we started over here as well. That's right. Sushi, burritos, poke. Hey, you could have ramen too. It's just a little bit more popular during the cooler months. But anyway, so it's too hot to get way down eating something that's just it's just too much, during lunch. Man, this heat, it'll kill you. Get something light. It's good. You get the specialty bowls and the specialty burritos or create your own, and away you go, man. It's good, it's healthy, and it's light. So it's a win. It's a win-win-win. Just like the Pelicans front office, Charlie.
That's a consensus right now. We bring in our friend Ali Cosell, now posting on Blue Sky, covering the Pelicans for a long time. Ali, good afternoon. How are you?
Hey, guys, I'm doing well. Yeah, it sounds like you're having a good lunch, and now what, are we going to feast on the Pelicans?
Well, seems to be the thing of the day. All right, there is, I don't think any media outlet that hasn't just torched Joe Dumars over this trade, giving up the unprotected first-round pick next year. Give me your take on what the Pelicans did with that second pick. We'll get to fears in a second, but with that second pick last night.
I'll be honest, at first, I also was in that same boat, initially hearing upon how you're taking a chance on a guy that isn't a surefire bet to pan out, and you gave up basically a chance for getting a really good draft pick next season, right? It's a good draft. Now you don't have any first-rounders. But after sleeping on it, I'll tell you what, guys, it's refreshing to me to see a front office actually go after the players that they covet. For years under David Griffin, I heard about all the players that front office liked, but they never went out and got them. And you see the results, right? I mean, there was only one decent year out of 6, 1 year where they won 49 games, but even that ended poorly, right? Just a real quick playoff exit. So I think there's something to be said about getting guys you like. And when you heard about Joe Dumars explaining afterwards why they like these players and why they went after them, it kind of makes sense, right? He made the parallels to watching, of course, Oklahoma City and Indiana in the finals. Players on both those rosters that really exude the fact that, 1, they play tough, 2, they're versatile, but 3, they have this competitive fire about making smart decisions, but also just going after, being aggressive. That's what Joe Dumars kept on hammering that point. And if you watch these Pelicans teams over the years, they haven't been that way. The front office hasn't operated that way. I think about the holes they've had, not filling in center last year, how many years without a real point guard, trusting Zion and Brandon Ingram to work out. That's where Joe Dumars, I think he's got a clear vision. And it's just a basketball character that he likes. It gives you, just like I said, it's a breath of fresh air, trying a different path than what the previous regime did and failed doing.
Okay, fair enough. Then the question I have to ask is, if you like this player so much, why not try to get him with some protections attached to this first-round pick next year? I don't know what Atlanta told him, but it seems to be a universal opinion that if they had attached top 4, top 8, even top 1 protections to this pick next year, that Atlanta probably would have been amenable to that. Do you think that the protections should have been included here and that was not really an option?
Charles, my guess is that they tried, because I know people that are still in this front office that were here previously that knew exactly that's how you play the game, that are very smart in including these protections where you learn to do it under David Griffin, right? He was one of the first to really start using that as a tool. And so here's the thing. From what I've been kind of hearing, I think that was the Bryson Graham tax, honestly. He was here long enough to where he learned who Joe Dumars, Troy Weaver, players they like. And I think he had a very good feeling how much they really wanted Derek Queen. So I think, like I said, that's just a tax that you had to pay. Atlanta probably gave it to him simply as such. You're not going to get our pick unless it's not protected at all. I really believe that. Because Joe told us that he's been chasing the move up in the draft since the 9th pick. And, for instance, you saw how much Portland got from Memphis, right, just to move up 5 spots. They got a future first in a couple of seconds. So you're going to pay a premium tax, number 1. But number 2, like I said, I got a feeling Bryson Graham really said, look, They're going to bite because that's how much they want them, so don't back off. Don't allow for any protection. I really believe that's how it played out.
And that troubles me because the Saints do this too. They get married to one player and damn the costs, and a lot of times end up overplaying. This is not we like Derek Queen as a player, but the cost of it seemed excessive. But let's move on. Let's talk about Jeremiah Fears here for a second. Likes, fit. Where are you on the Fears pick at number 7?
It's fun to see the Pelicans actually get a point guard that's going to be able to get in the lane at will, right? I mean, if you think about, again, I'm going to go back to David Griffin there. Lonzo Ball did not like driving the paint, let alone getting a shot up. Devontae Graham, that certainly wasn't his game either, right? And then pretty much everybody that's followed, they fit that same kind of mold, right? It looked like DeJounte Murray didn't have as much fear, but again, he had trouble getting his shot at the rim. That's why he usually settled for some kind of floater. But Fears, a player who honestly operates underneath the rim because he doesn't have that athleticism, he's got no issues getting there. And moreover, I know he's not a good finisher, and we'll talk about his efficiency in a second, but I just like the fact he gets in there, and if he doesn't get his shot up, he was getting to the free throw line. And what's impressive about it to me is he was doing this all when he had just turned 18. You know, he reclassified, and people don't probably know this, but like Cooper Flagg. So he was really young for his age, playing against guys a lot older than him, right? Bigger bodies, more mature, more experienced, basketball experience. And for Fears to honestly put up, a line of about 17 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists on a really good Oklahoma team that made some noise, I thought that was impressive. So that's where I'm honestly looking and saying the production actually kind of outweighs what maybe some talent evaluators that use projection systems, right? Those analysts, the quote-unquote stat nerds, say he shot the ball poorly from 3, a lot of turnovers, didn't finish well. That's his marks against him, but I think he can outgrow those, Charles. Pelicans, they finally maybe got a point guard of the future, something they honestly haven't had for me since, Chris Paul.
Yeah, what's a reasonable learning curve for him? Because we did talk about his age. He doesn't turn 19 until right before training camp. What's a reasonable expectation?
Skip to senior year of high school.
Yeah, what's a reasonable expectation of him as a young rookie in this league?
Yeah, well, as a rookie, he's going to struggle, right, for next year. But I think just as for his career as a whole, I think what you look at is what his ceiling is. And I think there's a mix of where you're going to have some kind of John Wall in him, right, where he's going to move that ball up the court so quickly. He can see those passing lanes. He's going to find a way to get himself to the rim or the free throw line. So he's going to make something happen essentially on every play. So he'll iron out the turnovers and such. But, yeah, it's going to take some time, guys. There's no doubt that this is kind of a developmental type of pick when you consider his age, consider everything he's got to still work on, right? Here's the biggest thing. I think for both Queen and Fears, I want to hear about the Pelicans hiring some more developmental coaches. They need to get, for instance, a shot coach in here again. Didn't have one last year ever since Fred Vinson left, but they desperately need one. You want to go and gamble on rookies that need a lot of development, that show a lot of promise, but to help them reach that ceiling, you've got to surround them with the right resources. So that's what I want to hear about most coming up soon.
You know, Charlie and Ollie, watching him play at Oklahoma, and I saw just about every conference game. You know, the basketball in the SEC has evolved greatly, okay, but it's still a bully league, and they knew he was young, and they tried to rough him up pretty good, and he hung in there. You know, I mean, he's got some ways to mature physically, but he didn't back down, and I think but he had a lot of attention, almost like the Caitlin Clark treatment in the WNBA last year. I mean, they were looking to throw him off his game, and he kind of hung in there, hit some big shots in there along the way as well. He showed you some flashes that man, he can be. He does have a high ceiling.
He's a very creative player as well. Ollie, defensively, you look at a lot of the players that figure to be starters and or rotation pieces next year. There's a lot of defensive liabilities in this lineup, and this was not a good defensive team a year ago. So where are your concerns defensively for this team?
Yeah, here's what I think Joe Dumars and Troy Weaver are betting on. Number one, they think Zion Williamson, he's going to be definitely a true two-way player. Right, I mean, he has to be the guy that he was at Duke, and I'm pretty sure. First of all, we start seeing that come out more and more. Right, the last couple of years, Williamson carrying more, doing more defensively than he had previously. But I think Joe kind of has probably given it almost to an ultimatum to Zion. I believe in you. I know what you can do, but you have to go out and prove it. And I think Zion now, he's, 6 years in, he knows and understands the message. So they're going to count on him to be there alongside Herb, taking on whoever they need to as defensive assignments. But I also think Eve Missy. I've been hearing so many good things about him, guys, that I was praying the Pelicans weren't going to draft Kaman Malawach. Because honestly, I believe that's how much of a step Eve is going to make next year. However, he's growing stronger, quicker. Done a lot of studying of film because that was his biggest thing last year, right? Besides not really being able to catch and finish well, his biggest problem, he's just out of position, right? He didn't know where to be on half the time and things like that, fundamental stuff. I feel like once he irons those things out, because the numbers say he's going to be one of the better defensive centers / bigs in the league because of his ability just to get to spots, because of that athleticism and reach. So I think they've honestly got enough defense, at least in the starting lineup, because, you've got to count on Herb, Zion, and Eve being in that starting lineup. But after that, there's some question marks, right? Is Sadiq Bey, is he fully healed right from the knee injury? Can Trey Murphy be tougher? Because that's one area that I've always questioned about Trey. He's kind of an all-around guy, but was he really? I don't think so, right? He was never a defensive stopper because you're not going to be able to rely on Jordan Poole, right, other guys on the roster for defense. So it has to be those guys we're talking about stepping up.
And my next question was about Jordan Poole. You get a lot of opinions, varied opinions on him. He was thought as a rising star when he left Golden State, but that the Draymond Green incident left him, I hate to use the word scarred, but that a lot of people think he hasn't been the same since. It was a rough first year in Washington. It was a better second year in Washington. What's realistic to expect out of Jordan Poole?
I think somebody that's kind of average for the position. So what that means is he's going to have some things that areas he excels in, others weaknesses, right? So for him, it's scoring. For him, it's honestly knocking down that three-point shot, being kind of the gravity machine that you're going to need around a player like Zion. For a team, honestly, that doesn't have a wealth of three-point shooters now. And that's the thing. And I think Troy Weaver, again, this is, guys, Joe Dumars has really placed a lot of trust in Troy Weaver when you look at just how this week has played out. It's basically all guys that Troy Weaver has touched, gotten to know, has scouted. So apparently Weaver's really high on Jordan Poole, being able to control him, for him being able to take that next step. That, for instance, that improvement you're talking about in Washington is a real sign that he's maturing, that you can kind of count on him. So Poole's under contract for 2 more years at a price that I think everybody would agree he's getting overpaid, right, about $30 million per year. But here was the problem. The Pelicans, I know, didn't trust Jordan Hawkins. And CJ, you're going to have to give him an extension to keep him. And when you look at his age, it just didn't make any sense, right, to keep some guy that we know is past his prime for a team that's not good enough to contend to spend that kind of money on. So I actually kind of think the gamble, it's okay, right? I don't love it. Jordan Poole's got his baggage and such, but this is one you just got to wait and see and hope that Troy Weaver's, his gut instincts are right on this one.
You've changed platforms since the last time we talked to you. Tell everybody how they can get your stuff in coverage of the Pelicans.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Yeah, around Blue Sky Social. It's my full name like it was on Twitter. That's OLEHKOSEO.
Okay. Well, then we'll be looking forward to that on Blue Sky.
Hey, one thing, Ollie, man, the division looks like it is loading up, man.
Ooh. Yeah. Look, guys, Victor Wembanyama, he's going to be the next best player for maybe the next 8 to 10 years, right? And then Dallas, how on earth did they get lucky enough to land Cooper Flagg? But they did.
It was rigged.
That team doesn't scare me as much. Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis, they've never been able – you couldn't trust these guys previously. So I don't think nothing changes for me there now. Houston, though, that's the one, right? Besides San Antonio, Houston. Boy, defensively, they're the toughest team, I think, next to OKC for the next 5 years. Young talent, spry talent, and now they added Kevin Durant. I know he hasn't done much winning in the last 5 years, but he's still Kevin Durant, guy that can shoot well. So those are the 2 major obstacles in the division for me.
Well, it was a glaring glaring weakness when they were in the postseason. It's we're wondering about the Cavaliers' regular season success and the Rockets' regular. How does it translate to the postseason? When it's so different, and they just didn't have a dependable shooter. And so, I mean, you talk about a piece. I mean, even a declining Kevin Durant could certainly shoot the ball better than any of those guys can in a lot of situations there. And I love the coach too. So, I mean, he's legit, man. And they seem like they got a good locker room right now in Houston. Ollie, thank you, man. Always good to hear from you, brother. We wish you the best of success.
Yeah, it was fun catching up with you guys. Let's just hope this plays out. So all these previous years, we've been excited about some of the moves the Pelicans have made. How many have really panned out, right, into something meaningful? Never did. So maybe it's a reverse trend now.
Maybe they do. Thanks.
We're due.
Thanks, Ollie. We appreciate it.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Ollie. Don't forget our friends at Total Maintenance. It's hot. And AC breaks down. Call the place, man. Service today, every day. I mean, same-day service. You call us today, you will get service today at 480-1000. 480-1000. That's right. You'll never sleep hot if you call Total Maintenance. One of South Louisiana's oldest and largest AC and heating companies since 1980. Lucas Ragusa, a great staff at Total Maintenance. They got a separate staffs and offices in both Baton Rouge and the New Orleans area. Total Maintenance, your one-stop shop for AC, electrical, generator, plumbing service today, every day. Total Maintenance, 480-1000.
Live at Finbaum, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Finbaum. Sushi, burrito, poke, ramen on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And today's show is also brought to you by Coastal Capital Advisors, your full-service financial planners when it comes to retirement. No two situations resemble each other exactly, so let Coastal Capital Advisors work with you, your business partners, your legal team, and tax professionals to make sure that all of your goals are achieved no matter where you are in life, no matter what your income is or your age. They'll make a plan that will work specifically for you and your family, and I can tell you for sure because that's exactly what they've done for our family. For more information, contact Philip Fontenot and his staff, 337-981-1376. Online, coastalcapitaladv.com. Advisory services provided by New Age Advisors, member FINRA SIPC. Max, what's going on in Detroit? Ben Griffin off to an interesting start. He was one of our guys yesterday.
One of our consensus picks. He holes out on the very first hole from 75 yards out, so he is 2 under through one hole. Very good start for the hottest player on tour outside of Scotty Scheffler. So at least that's our good consensus pick. Our others that have gotten off on the course, not so hot in a birdie fest. Jesper Svensson, 2 under through 16 holes. He was 100-1 pre-tournament. Rico Hoey was 90-1. He finished the day at 1 under par, which is not going to get it done because Min Woo Lee has the lead at 9 under par with just a few players right behind him. Andrew Putnam, 8 under par. You've got 4 players tied at 7 under, so it's a birdie fest there in Detroit. But Min Woo Lee, who finished runner-up last year, getting off to a great start here in the first round at Detroit.
Jimmy's just more fun to watch than
Griffin. Just missed about 25-foot putt on 2, so a tap in par for him on 2.
Cameron Young, our other consensus, just getting his round started.
Man,
I
bet him, like, laddered him and stuff like that, and I look at the first thing. I mean, it's like 7:45 in the morning. C. Young, through 11, 1 over. I'm like, what? It's 8 o'clock, and I'm done already? Carson Young.
Oh,
yeah.
But they did.
But they both see Young.
Yeah, so that's why they spell their whole name out. If you look on the leaderboard on like the Golf Channel, it'd say Cameron Young. You're like, why is this whole name
like
spelled
the
out?
ESPN app or whatever? Just kind of
Cameron Young, Carson Young.
And there were some local Central Time pre-6 a.m. tee-offs this morning.
Detroit is Detroit's
Eastern time, so they had some right before
7 a.m.
like 6:45 Eastern time.
Long day
there was some
right now. They got to fit
They have
them in.
long days, but man, how would you like it? 6:45 a.m. tee off time?
Charlie, it's daylight at 6 a.m. here, so it's going to be.
I know. It just seemed like that was. They started really early, I guess, is what I'm saying. When you looked at it at 8 o'clock, yeah, that guy was through more than half of his round. You like watching this better than par golf wins it? Since we had this discussion about the U.S. Open,
I actually found myself warming up to the course until it got drenched.
That's you and I are on exactly. You and I are exactly on the same page.
I really
didn't have a problem with the course.
I said maybe no. The course was fun. It was I actually enjoyed it more instead of just kind of tolerated it. Where in the past sometimes it feels, and to have not every week is like that, and so if the tournaments like this where 27 under is going to win it, Max,
not fun.
It's a little too extreme. Okay, so these tournaments make you appreciate the U.S. Open a little bit more and make it hard. I hear all the club players, they love comparing it to them. And so it makes them feel closer to ability to it, and I think that's a BS, okay? I mean, whatever makes you feel good about yourself. But when you can't have both, man. You can't be playing in the puddles and it's already hard.
Yeah.
That's just I didn't enjoy the Masters when they finished up one round, and I think it was it wasn't Koepka, but it was one that Koepka was in contention.
Koepka and Rahm. It was really raining on Saturday.
And somebody missed, maybe JT missed the cut because he's chipping from the puddles. From the puddle to the puddles on the green.
The weather wasn't ideal, but overall, typically difficult golf courses are better to me because they punish bad shots. And I will say, last week the winning score was like 16 under for the Travelers. The Travelers is a decent finish because there's some water on holes. There's a chance of making bogey or double bogey if you hit a bad shot. So it doesn't just matter about the final winning score. I think scores are relative. You could name it par 72. You could make it a par 65 if you're that worried about scoring, what it ended up being. But I just want to see difficult or bad shots punished for the best players in the world, and oftentimes they're not.
That's fair enough. What I like to see, and I don't watch as much golf as you, I would like to see there be an opportunity, a realistic opportunity, for a birdie or a bogey on most of the holes. Okay, I can understand that there's a handful of holes where, look, man, just get out of there with a par, and a handful where if you don't make a birdie, it's like you made a bogey. Okay, a par is like a bogey. But give me a legitimate chance on 14 out of 18 holes that a good shot's going to be rewarded and a bad shot is going to be penalized. That may be difficult to do. Here, it feels like at the U.S. Open, par felt like a birdie. And in this tournament, a par feels like a bogey, right?
Again, all I will say is J.J. Spawn had quite a few birdies down the stretch. Robert McIntyre had quite a few birdies. It's not like they weren't out there. And in the past, I would agree with you. The U.S. Open's gotten egregious where they made it way too important, the winning score, and birdies couldn't be had. They were like impossible. We saw that actually last week at the women's PGA. The greens were too firm for the players, and they didn't hit the ball long enough to hold the green. So
you bet on the women's tournament, didn't you?
I did not.
Okay.
I did not. But I'm just saying that a lot of the players were complaining about it, and the winning score ended up being under par. But sometimes it could be unfair, where birdies just aren't out there. But I don't think that was a problem at the U.S. Open this year.
Until it started.
Everything was fine until the rain.
Yeah.
Look, and Burns was having a rough time before the rain came, and it seemed like he got the worst of it. Yes, Spawn hit some miracle shots to get it, but that was the exception rather than the rule. I don't like, TV loves when it's snowing during a game, a football game. They love that. They think it looks good, and they get good ratings. Whatever. Not me. I mean, when they're playing a playoff game that Saturday night, it was remember when San Francisco blocked the punt at Green Bay? Nobody could do anything. I mean, I want to see the players being able to play to their talents, and that's not what. And I felt that was the same thing. It was a little bit too.
How about fog?
A little bit too goofy golf.
How do you feel about fog?
Well, here's the thing. They could have avoided it. I mean, they do it all the time. In baseball, we move games up. In golf, they move them up. The Masters, they move them up. New Orleans, Avondale, they move them up. Move the damn start time up. And I mean, but, okay, well, we might lose some viewers. Well, okay. Well, then if you're doing it for other reasons, you get what you get. And I thought the U.S. and it just blow hard on the microphone after, patting himself in the back for the way they ran the tournament. Man, you failed, dude. Go away. You turned into putt-putt.
You've seen those guys take the microphone before. Do they enjoy it or not?
Guy, man. Who is that guy, Max? The USGA guy?
The USGA.
Oh, kiss my ass, man.
You'd have left him out there for 5 more minutes. He'd have sang "I Left My Heart in San Francisco."
He was there's a lightning in the background.
Yeah, basically politicians. I mean, come on.
Yes, yeah. Well, how you think they got that position in the first place? We're brought to you by the Thibodeau Store, thethibodeaustore.com. Right now on the website, DeWalt Power Tools are on special. Your DeWalt cordless chainsaws, your cordless string trimmers, your cordless hedge trimmers, cordless chainsaw compact kits, the pole saws as well, brushless push, the lawnmower kits right now. All of that from DeWalt, all of that on special right now on the website, plus more garden tools, hoses, and garden tools on special, up to 37% off right now. Lawn furniture, patio furniture, some of the small sectional sofas and chairs, those are all on special right now at the website. Potting and topsoils, cordless power tools, spreaders and seeders, and all of your grass and weed control, all of that on special right now at the website at thethibodeaustore.com. Air conditioner units, if you're looking to put a window unit into one of your extra spaces, those are on special right now at the website. Even got specialty sunglasses that are on sale right now. It's thethibodeaustore.com. We made it so you can't even misspell it. Plus the Cajun cookware that is shipped right to your door. Check it out now at thethibodeaustore.com. And if you go down 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodaux. Live at Finbon, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
With Ott and Hanny from Finbom. Sushi, burrito, poke, ramen on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Finbom here right next to Rouse's. Come on by and see us for lunch. We all got a chance to watch. I ended up watching more of the NBA draft than I usually do because the Pelicans were active, and I was watching that and the celebration kind of going back and forth, the celebration over at Alec Buck Stadium. But what else stood out? We talked a little bit before about the coverage of the event, and it's a lot of players that we haven't seen. When you get into the foreign players and stuff like that. What did you think?
Poor. Very poor. The ESPN broadcast, at least in the NFL draft, they do this. The ABC broadcast is a little bit more catered to everyone, the casual sports fan, while the ESPN broadcast a little more diehard, a little more information-based. I thought that would be the same last night. Jay Billis and who else was on the coverage on ESPN? I know they had Bob Myers and Stephen A. were over on ABC, but
yeah.
I thought it was weak. I thought it was very weak. They show you 4 canned highlights that weren't very impressive. You'd think ESPN has this whole catalog of all these networks that show the college games, that they would have these big plays and a lot of video and all that stuff, and they just didn't do that. And I was very underwhelmed.
I was looking for a little bit more of the where these guys fit in with the team. Look, we don't follow the NBA as closely as we follow the NFL. Not even close. Okay, so I can't right off the top of my head tell you who
Griffin Birdie
fourth through 7th players are for Washington, okay, or Utah. I'd like to know a little bit more about that, and I was hoping for a little bit more of that. Speaking of Washington,
what was Jeremiah Fear's biggest shot this year?
The 4-point play in November.
Did they show it to beat Michigan? No, they didn't.
Right when he got drafted, I was trying to remember.
Show me. Oh, hey, not afraid, even as a young player, skipped high school to take the big shot. And here's a 4-point, down 3. He gets a 4-pointer to beat Michigan. I mean, something you didn't have. It used to be where you had Greenberg was. That was it? No, Fraschilla. Fraschilla was on the international beat. Obviously, you need somebody to try and tell you. Give us a little bit more of a breakdown on the international players. It's an international draft. France, I mean, they were the biggest competition for the U.S. in the Olympics this past year. And what was it last year or the year before the draft where they had 4 of the top 11?
Last year was Sachet and the first pick.
And so I mean, that's sport is alive and well, in that country. And it's just some, I felt like I was watching a red carpet event. Oh, wow. She sued. Who cares, man? I mean, come on. Oh, my mom's super. Yes, of course they're happy, excited for you. I get it. I mean, and then you had the, the Eli Manning, all over again. So it looked like it, swallowed a lemon when the team drafted.
Ace Bailey?
Yeah. I mean, this guy got drafted 4th out of all of his BS, and then
5th, yeah.
And then and I got the host going. Well, I mean, we've seen him play enough basketball. What more do we need to know? We're investing millions of dollars in you, a high draft pick. This is impactful. What we do with this high pick? Can we speak to you? And don't apologize for that. They talked about it at the Open with the former GM for the Warriors and Stephen A. Smith, and then they talked about it. And then what's Stephen A. Smith's? What is his deal? I mean, I know one team that better not, and we're going to discuss that after. Well, no, say who's the team
it was
you're talking about?
By the way,
who's the team and why? What is that all about? You want to let it happen before you take a side?
I could have guessed what it was. It's a bigger market team. That's who he did not want to take him. Shocking, the Sixers. Around San Antonio, Charlotte, Utah, Washington, New Orleans. He didn't want Philly to take him.
Well, he's gone to Utah.
This is the first guy. Now, they did talk to him because I thought they didn't talk to him at all. They ended up talking to him at the Combine. Austin Ainge, who is now in charge in Utah, did talk to him. But this strategy that he did was, I don't think I've ever seen it. Not that he steered himself away from a certain market. We've seen that plenty of times. But that he steered himself into I want to be the star. I want the offense to go through me from jump. And so he essentially said, I want to go to a bad team. I want to go somewhere where they're going to showcase me. Not, I just want to fit in. He did say, I want to work hard, but, that's kind of the cliche that's, ingrained into him from the media coaches. This was, I want to be the guy. I don't care if I struggle. I don't care what I want to be the guy. So that's why I couldn't figure out, why would you want to go to Washington? Why would you want to go to New Orleans? Oh, he wants the offense to go through him. Really?
But, Charlie, is that confirmed? Because Utah doesn't have a guy, and I would say that New Orleans has more of a guy than Utah has, but he apparently doesn't want to go to Utah. He'd rather Washington and New Orleans.
I think it was what the vibe I got was he just didn't want to go to Utah. Okay. He didn't want to live in Utah. No, Utah, from a basketball standpoint, you're right, that fits. But I just think he didn't, they don't get excited to go play in Utah. I mean, players are not like, hey, is this a really sexy market? Well, no, not really. But I'll tell you what, I've been out there, and in a previous job, one of our sister properties was the station, the All Sports station in Salt Lake City. That market supports their local sports. They support the Jazz like nobody's business. They support
What's
the
their
University
one
of
team?
They're the one pro team, and they support. You've been out there.
Getting a hockey team soon.
Yeah,
but.
they right now the hockey team's there. That market, it may not. New York City, it ain't, but that market supports that team. And look, they were good for a lot of years. They never won a championship, but the Stockton and Malone thing went on for 16, 18 years, and
it's a lifestyle thing, Charlie.
They were out there after that. So
I mean, look, man. I mean, it's a cultural thing. It's like
I'm not saying I want to move to Utah either, but Hey, look, you're going to get drafted. Most of these guys say, I want to get drafted.
The makeup of the community is a little bit different, the makeup of where these guys are usually from. So
Utah is not the sexiest market. I will give you that. But the part where he said, I want the offense to run through me. Okay. That's interesting. It's not unheard of, though. You know who did that? Kobe. Kobe basically said, I'm going to turn my game up. Well, now you're with Shaq. Don't you think you could be acquiescent? No, I'm going to turn my game up. But that was Kobe. Kobe was is Ace Bailey going to be, as good as Kobe Bryant? Almost certainly not. You're talking about one of the top 10, 12 players in the history of the game. Anyway, he goes fifth.
On the other side of the Pels thing, got to give the Hawks credit for apparently they wanted Asa Newell, who they drafted 23rd. They wanted him 13th. So they get the guy they wanted apparently the whole time, and they get a first-round pick next year. So credit to them.
They also came out pretty good on the Kristaps Porzingis trade. They did not give up a hell of a lot for a really productive player. They got Boston in a salary dump for sure, but they came. You look at the whole sum total of the Hawks' moves, pretty good over some of that stuff. Not necessarily for next year, but yeah, pretty good in a wide open East.
Yeah, they've experimented. Look, they got that number 1 seed at one time with the Trae Young thing. He's won some playoff, but it's just not. They need to take a chance because just him being a one-way player, it's just not. It's not the recipe for a championship. So,
like Washington's draft, they got Trey Johnson and Walter Clayton.
Agreed.
Only 4 SEC players go. For as dominant as the league was last year, only 4 SEC players go in the top 30 picks. That's what you call an international draft. Yeah, I think that's.
They got Clayton Jr.
at 18.
5 went.
At 8. I counted 4. Who'd I miss?
Trey Johnson, Jeremiah Fears, Colin Murray Boyles.
Yeah.
Fears from Oklahoma in the SEC now.
Walter Clayton and Asa Newell.
All right, I miscounted. I don't know which one I missed, but I missed.
Still not great.
I missed one.
5.
Y'all weren't surprised the kid from South Carolina went 9?
A little early for me, yeah.
I mean, I didn't feel like I was watching a top 10 player when I was. To me, he's all about a college player. That's not going to translate to the NBA. I mean, a hustle guy, a rugged guy, yeah, okay. They did talk about that. I mean, his energy and his motor, he was playing hard, and they went 2-16, whatever it was. But I didn't see a guy with tons of skills, quickness. I don't know, man.
Quick. I think he's.
He was a body guy that's going to be going up against bigger players in the NBA. Top 10 pick guy is not what I thought of. Great college player. When I had my money on him, I was glad. He's giving you everything he can in some tough situations for a team that had nothing to play for most of the time. How many close games did they lose?
Yeah.
A lot.
He was the heart and soul of that team. But damn,
not a great shooter.
No. I was a little surprised. So I thought his girlfriend could beat him. Well, I guess I'm wrong. So Workbox. No, yes indeed. Our friends over at Workbox for all of your shipping containers, custom storage containers for all different sizes, for all different uses. They don't just come in one standard size. Not at Workbox. 8x8 feet, 8x10 feet, 8x20, or even 8x40 feet. You want tool storage container for your job site? I mean, these are great for the plants. They customize part office, part storage. Welders and plumbers can customize their work site, lunch rooms, you name it, dual purpose, half for this, half for that, climate control, shelving, lighting, materials, whatever you need, whatever you prefer. Hey, how about Workbox, too, with their new office? That's right, and servicing everywhere from the Gulf Coast to New Orleans to Lake Charles and everywhere in between. Martine, of course, has a great team now. Martine Jr., Hannah, Brandy, and, yes, Chris Brooks. My man Chris Brooks won the Workbox team as well. Workbox 343-4886 and WorkboxLLC.com.
Live at Finbaum, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Lunch with Ott and Hanny from Finbom. Sushi, burrito, poke, ramen on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
A lot of afternoon baseball. Yesterday we watched Jake Mizorowski continue his hot start, former LSU commitment, 5 shutout innings for the Brewers yesterday, and at the expense of Paul Skeens, who had his tied for his shortest outing of his pro career, gave up 4 runs in 4 innings, and the Brewers 4-2 win. Jim, we got a lot of games this afternoon. What you eyeing here?
I like Gausman at plus money. It's no score in the third right now, so you can get in on that right now. The A's are down 1-0 to the Tigers, but I would jump on that in game as well. Delay in the start of the Twins game, but I think the Twins are going to split the 4-game set between them and the Mariners. So probably the weakest, tremendous rotation the Mariners have, and this is probably their weakest starter that they have gone today. Rays and Royals, boy, the Rays are on fire, but it's too expensive of a price on the road there. I do like the Astros. The Astros are not losing, and Philly is not hitting. Philly is yet to score. And this is the third game now this set. Hunter Brown's been phenomenal. That's not a good slumping bats in Hunter Brown. I mean, my goodness. 1.88 ERA, 0.92 whip. He has been phenomenal for the Astros this year, and the Astros are just finding ways to win. Not bad for a 5th-round pick out of Wayne State, huh?
Wayne State.
Out of the Michigan area. So, and then I like St. Louis as a plus price against the Cubbies to come back and win today. Imanaga, the rookie last year that was kind of leading Paul Skeens at a little bit of a stretch early for the Rookie of the Year. He's going against Andre Payante for the St. Louis Cardinals. So going with the Cardinals there. The Dodgers and Rockies, that's unbettable later. So 8 of the 9 games are during the day today, and a getaway day for Major League Baseball.
Max, anything worth jumping in on at the Rocket?
Well, you might have missed the boat on Ben Griffin. He's going to be 4 under, it looks like, through 4 holes. He was one of our consensus picks. We gave him out at 22-1. He is now the live favorite at plus 650. I don't know.
Where's Ben Will right now?
Plus 700 in the odds, just right behind him. In at 9 under. But Ben Griffin 4 under through 4 if he makes this 3-footer here on the 4th hole.
Well, he made the one from 75 yards out, so maybe
he's not a good putter today. Maybe he's just going to chip everything.
From how many feet?
75 yards. 3 feet. I think
he had like a 35-footer. He put it on an eagle, so an eagle putt. So he's about to hit it right now, about 3 feet away for Griffin.
I mean, Jimmy made 3-footers at
Max, let's start with me, boy.
At the putting. You did. You gave me good reads at Falling Oak.
Yeah, that was. I hope you enjoyed my last round of golf. So I think that we can put that thing to rest. So great facility, great setup, great. The amenities are outstanding. Here he is for birdie on this 620-yard par 5, right down the center. So through 4, he is 4 under.
Colin Morikawa, by the way, called out the media once again. He's getting feisty.
What's going? He's
firing caddies.
He needs some PR help. He's going after members of the media, changing caddies. This
wasn't his personality before.
Yeah, what happened to the happy-go-lucky guy that
when
came on
2 majors? Yeah, it just looked different. But apparently, some people around him, they've kind of corroborated. He's hard to be around.
You talking to Rory's people?
Sounds like it, huh?
It's a shame. I mean, he's a good young player, but just seems like
watching him play.
Well, but he is. I'll tell you what. From the people that have money on him. And it's just some of my friends. He's a very frustrating player. Like they feel like he should be accomplishing more. So if they're frustrated, he's probably frustrated, which is leading into these. And he's not handling it. He's not handling it the best, obviously.
Thanks to the folks here at Finbom. Sushi, burrito, poke,
psychoanalysis
ramen
for the day.
Burbank, Italy, right next to Rouse's. Tomorrow we are at Ruffino's to wrap up the week. For Nathan back in the studio, doing a great job. For Jimmy and Max, I'm Charles Handiger saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.